think that's really, really good, this whole idea of like perfection and what that means. And I think a lot of, especially for a lot of like tech starting out, there might be this false idea that the nails need to be absolutely perfect. To build a clientele, they have to be absolutely perfect, similar to what they see on Instagram. And I just don't think it's good. I don't think it's real, first of all. But for, you know, kind of the main thing is that perfection in itself doesn't exist.
No.
That idea doesn't exist.
No, it doesn't.
But
and who's perfection?
Right. Right, exactly.
So
it's very subjective, the idea of what is perfect and what isn't. But
I'm perfect. It's not.
Very subjective, this idea of perfection.
No, that's actual facts.
Let's talk about it from the standpoint of the nail salon, right? Like building a clientele, perfect nails, how does that fit into building a real clientele, and how does that fit into having a successful career as a professional nail artist?
The only way perfection will fit into a nail salon is it'll fit into you having a nervous breakdown. It just doesn't exist. I mean, yeah. and what I'm talking about is like when a nail is beautiful, if you get a magnifying glass, you will find flaws in everybody's work. It's just there. And you cannot make every single nail perfectly even, perfect around the cuticle, perfect smile line from one end to the other, and then the next nail matching perfect to perfect. It just doesn't happen. What you want is you want your client to go, wow, these are beautiful. Right. And they're happy.
So there might be a big confusion of like your happiness as far as the nails versus like the client's happiness and what they consider to be a great set of nails, and how you might be way overjudging yourself on your set.
You will always overjudge yourself. And that's just human. Like every time I look at a set of nails that I've done, I will pick it apart. If someone else did that set, I'd be like, that's a gorgeous set. And what our tendency is to do is to point it out to your client. Like if a smile line's a little higher on one side, you're going, oh man, I'm sorry, you know that. And your client never even saw it, but guess what they see now? That's all they'll see. So,
and then moving forward, they're going to be inspecting that one thing you point out.
I always say, like, if and I have done this, if a client gets the light out and they're like this, I turn the light off on them. You do not get this close to your nails. These are pretty. If I go like this, I'm like, oh, a little red on the skin. You know, it happens. So their perception of your nails is more important than yours.
I think that's a huge lesson in just business, right? Like the way that we produce content, right, is a perfect example of this whole idea of perfection. We produce mass amounts of content every single day. If I was totally caught up on, oh my God, that picture is not perfect, or oh my God, this video right now, here.
This in the background,
look at this.
Lighting's crap.
No, it's really true. But the thing is that all of our equipment, we had to break down our equipment. It's all upstairs. I have another meeting in like 15 minutes. I've already pushed it back.
And plus you need to leave.
And then I have to go right after that because I have another appointment in LA. So for us to go upstairs and set up, we can't do it. So I think some people would be like, well, then we're just not going to post on Tuesday for the Biz Talk. And it's like, no, I'm going to grab the camera. We're going to sit our butts in this room and we're going to create a piece of content that hopefully brings you value. It's not about it being perfect. You can't produce anything and create a business out of it without getting rid of that idea of perfection, because with anything that's successful, okay, whatever you do, the majority, you need volume. In the salon, you need a volume of clients. What happens if your client comes in and you've got 1 hour until your next appointment. You can't sit there and pick apart the damn nails. You got to get that done, and you've got to move on, correct?
And again, they didn't even notice. Like,
Right.
they were so happy with them, and now you've created, you know, when people tell me I have a picky clientele, that tells me you created that. And I know some people are going to tear me apart on that, but usually it's our own perfection in our head that causes that damage. And now you just have pretty much, what do you call it, chummed the waters.
Right.
They smell blood.
I love that.
Like, oh, we got an attack.
Yeah.
And, well, I don't want to pay full price for that now.
Right.
Or if you say something, usually that nail will come back and it's off. I don't know why. Either they bite it off, they will it off, but they have obsessed about that one nail that you pointed out, that tiny flaw. Now, I'm not talking about a huge flaw.
Right.
If your smile line's here and here,
That's a problem.
You need to fix that.
Right, of course.
I'm talking like there's just this little variation that no one will ever see in anybody's lifetime. And there's another thing I wanted to talk about too, Habib, is that's when it comes to like Pinterest or Instagram
Right.
or magazines. You know, magazines, I never set magazines out for my clients because these nails are like
Yeah.
perfection.
Right. Well, they're Photoshopped probably too.
Well, Photoshopped, yes. And you've been to these shoots. How long does it take them to do those nails?
For one nail, first of all, it takes them hours to do the set of nails.
Yeah.
Then it takes another hour or so just to set up the perfect shot with the perfect lighting so that they look absolutely perfect, which is not
and
real.
They're going to get Photoshopped on top of it.
Exactly.
And that client, because we've been on them, the models, usually you have to take the nails off.
Right.
Because they're so thin, so
They break.
unrealistic. They'll break.
Yeah, they do.
So they can't even wear them.
Right.
That's not what you're judging your work off of.
Correct. You can't, if you did that set of nails in the salon, but this is actually a perfect example, Tracy. And I think any successful salon tech that has built a successful career would agree with this, okay? If you actually did photo style nails in the salon, you would fail. You would never be able to create and build a successful business because number one, you're gonna spend 6 hours doing a set of nails, and number two, they're gonna break.
They're going to break immediately.
I just wanna make sure that, you know, anyone that's getting into the business, even if you've been in the business for a while and you've struggled with this, you gotta know. Don't get caught up in this idea of perfect nails. And to prove my point again, go to our Instagram and go to our YouTube pages and check out, like, a lot of the work we post. We love the nails. They're beautiful salon nails, but the photography, a lot of people would argue, like, oh my God, that lighting's awful. Or like, how can
We've argued.
No, we have. Her and I have argued, and like I was wrong.
I'm posting it.
She would post it, and it would do exceptionally well, you know? But even outside of that, it's like, the whole idea is to get out as much information, you know, for you so that you can get value and you can learn from it in the salon. And this is one massive big point. Don't get caught up in it, you know, perfection. Now, like Tracy said, you can't have a smile line that's totally crooked, and you can't have a nail that has no upper arch, and there's gotta be foundation structurally so that the nails last, right?
You have to look at it like you're somebody else. You're judging someone else's work. I always say, if I think I would pay for it, then it's good to go.
Right.
And I think that we need to think more like our clients. They're so happy with them, and we're the ones sitting there feeding them negative thoughts. So
right.
Stop it and do this. Make a mental note that next time, you know what, I'm going to fix that and tweak that a little bit, and I think I know what to do.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So next time you'll be better.
It'll be better. It's so fitting that this episode of the Biz Talk happens to be, you know, me holding the camera. We don't have the proper lighting. We don't have the audio. We don't have the mics. My arms are frying right now. It's true. But it's perfect that we're talking about not being perfect, because this episode is the furthest thing from it, but it's fine. You know why? Because we're going to put out so much more content that it will eventually continue to improve. And while we're working on it, we're going to keep pumping it out in the same way that's how you get better at nails. Keep pumping out sets. Keep doing them. Don't stop and get caught up on that one nail that might be, just finish it. The next one's gonna be better.
What do we have that saying?
Improve.
Send it.
Send it. It's what we literally scream that the top of our lungs here. Send it. That means let's keep going. And, you know, my true thoughts and feelings, and so is Tracy, and so the rest of our team here, I know, would believe that, like, don't get caught up in that idea of perfection. Keep working at your craft. Get those sets out. Work on your timing. And I think things are going to get better. And with that, say thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week on the Biz Talk.